Good morning, everyone. This is Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Delighted to have you on the webinar with us. Today is your busy webinar for using email to grab leads and find new customers. Thanks so much for attending today. We have a number of folks that are registered and who are planning to attend, and we also have a bunch of folks that are already logged into the Hangout, so thank you very much for both those groups. I'm going to wait just a couple seconds so that everybody that's registered and is watching via the embedded Hangout so they can all join. But as we do that, a couple of housekeeping items. First, remember that you can always chat for the folks that are inside the Hangout. You can always chat to join us or to ask questions. If you're outside the Hangout and you're watching from either Google Plus or from the embedded video on the BizzyWeb homepage, you can ask questions using the Q&A tool inside of Google Hangouts. When you do that, you'll be able to see a couple of things. And first, I'm just going to screen share over to this screen. You can look at our page here down below. Once you click on this, it'll take you right into the webinar. Most of the folks that have joined us today have either done that via an email or they're looking at us via this page. If you click on this YouTube link, so long as you're logged into Google Plus, you'll be able to watch this and ask questions. You can watch it by just clicking that button or just by clicking play. If you do want to ask questions, though, you have to be logged in with your Google account, and we'd love to hear your questions. I've got the Q&A tool standing by, and we'll also be checking occasionally to make sure that I'm answering any chatted questions that you have. So as we do each week, I'm just going to dive right in with some details here, get into what we do at BizzyWeb. BizzyWeb is an online marketing company, of course, and what we do is web design. We're using the best publishing platform on the web, we believe, which is WordPress, and 40% of new websites published on the web are powered by WordPress. That gives us incredible power and depth to do everything that we would possibly need to do. BizzyWeb's clients have included everyone from the artist formerly known as Prince, to large entertainment centers, beer brewers, and all kinds of wonderful folks. We serve a lot of different areas, but one of the things that we pride ourselves most on is we make our websites accessible so that anyone can use them, anyone can view them regardless of their device, and anyone can integrate their social media so that when you publish to your BizzyWeb powered website, it automatically goes out on all of the social networks that you see here. So when BizzyWeb publishes any articles, you'll probably notice if you follow us on multiple networks that announcement goes out on all of those spaces. That's so Google Plusers, Facebookers, LinkedIners, or Twitterers are all able to see that information with one click by our publishing group. So as you do that, you'll notice that we're designed to help you save time, and of course, getting back to our tagline, which is generate buzz without getting stung. So that's what we're here to talk about, and what I'd like to get into you today is why you registered, which is to find out about email campaigns that drive success. So as we do this, BizzyWeb is an ALE, or Area Local Expert, for Constant Contact. We're also a preferred solutions provider for Constant Contact, so they're going to provide a number of the high-level things today, and I'm going to add my thoughts to let you know how we use this. And so as we go through this, it's going to be pretty rapid, but it's going to be pretty informative, I think, because the content that we've put together for this really digs into how to use emails more effectively. So on our agenda today, we'll talk about what are campaigns and newsletters, how to use email in general as far as mass marketing to your existing customers and prospects, and then how to integrate email and social, and the fact that you really do need to design your campaigns to integrate with both technologies. Email is kind of old school and is one of the best ways to push content out to folks regardless of where they are, and social media is another way to just kind of integrate and connect with people better than ever before because it lets people talk back more easily than any other tool. And then we'll talk about next steps and where to go from there. So let's get right into things and talk about campaigns and newsletters. And what you really need to think about is, at its core, all online marketing is designed to do two things. As long as you can get a physical and measurable response, that's the key. So whether you push out content or pull it in, The goal is to connect out with people in a realistic way and then to actually get them to pull back a response. That's the really cool part about email marketing and constant contact in general, but also with social media. It's just built to let people talk back, to let people connect with you, and to give them the next step. Last week, BizzyWeb talked about, or actually a couple weeks ago, talked about creating effective calls to action. That's the thing that you need to do in order to get people to that next physical step and to help them basically start to do business with you, whether it's just taking the next step by registering, by liking you on Facebook, by connecting, by responding to your email newsletter. Whatever you need to do in order to engage, inform, capture, and convert that information into something that makes a difference for them, that's what you need to focus on. So that's what we're talking about with this. Newsletters are really intended to be progressive and outside tools to really reach out regardless of what networks people are connected on, and whether it's something that you need to do to keep your audience in the know, just the general newsletter is kind of news, helpful information and tips, giving out announcements, sending out business letters, providing press releases to media or to all of your clients, customers, or prospects, or some sort of a custom email that's designed to integrate on specific projects or social marketing integrations. All of those things can be covered inside of email marketing, and Constant Contact, which is our preferred tool, of course, is designed to help you take advantage of each of those. So what is email? When you're writing about things on your email account, you need to just make sure that you're relaying, and this goes across social media as well, but what you know that your customers don't. You're the expert in what you do, and give yourself a chance to kind of shout from the rooftops, this is how we work, and this is how we provide solutions to specific situations. Now, it's helpful always to go back to who your customer is and what they really need from you, because those frequently asked questions are the things that people are constantly bugging you about, or the things that you're constantly hearing as pain points for your customers. That's the value that you bring to them, and that's what you should be writing. You also have access as an expert to specific tools or bits of information that your clients don't have, so relay some of that to them. Again, you don't need to provide dissertations on any of these things. You want to give them brief tidbits or tastes of the information that you currently provide and use, and that will let them understand that you're the expert and get them to take that next step. So again, if you'd like to know more, click here to register for our online webinar. Or if you'd like to know more, give us a call or stop by or connect with us on Facebook for more helpful tidbits and information. It's all about taking them to that next level. In email, original content isn't really required. Now, it's different in online marketing and specifically in blog results. In order to rank well for search engines, your content should ideally be as original as possible and about 300 words in length, and loaded up with those tasty keywords that your customers are typing into Google to find you. But if you're sending out an email, feel free to repurpose content. Just as a word of caution, make sure to always give proper attribution to any content that you do repurpose, and ideally link back to that solution or to that page that you found that information. It's just polite, and it's the way that business should be done, but you can also get yourself into trouble if you just represent specific items of knowledge as your own when they're not. So how we know what to do now, how much should we do? You know, less really in content on emails is more. Think about mobile devices. You don't need to provide a full dissertation. You don't need to have an email newsletter that takes up 25 pages when printed out. You know, give them the tidbits, the information that they need just to interest them in clicking to find more, and let that click land them on your website where it takes them to the next step. Maybe it's a full length of a blog post, maybe it's another connection or a next step for them to take, but just give them enough to know if they want to take the next action. The key, of course, is to focus on everything that you do so that you're not giving them too many options. Focus on each newsletter should have a theme, and each communication that you have should have one ideal elicit response that you're going to get from them. So if you want them to connect with you or to call you or to register for your event, make sure that everything you do is tied to that. You know, if you're just sending out an informational newsletter, the thing that you want them to do is click for more. And so giving brief introductions or paragraphs that lead into and give brief tidbits of information on why they should click and read the rest, that's what you want to focus on. 51% of folks that read their emails are now doing it on mobile devices. And so the fact that, you know, you're looking at a much smaller screen than ever before really pays itself out into why focus and being shorter on your attention and on your content is really important. People aren't taking the time to browse as much anymore, and certainly if they're browsing on a device that's on a 3G network somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, you want to make sure that you're giving them just the facts, just the content, and helping them to reach out where it makes the most sense. We do have a bundle of folks that have joined for our email campaign or for our email marketing webinar today, and so I wanted to again remind those folks that you can ask us a question simply by going into the webinar, and we've got a ton of folks that are actually logged on to that webinar, so you can either join the Google Hangout by clicking on this link, or again, if you click on this YouTube link, as long as you have an email that's registered with Google, you'll be able to ask a question using the Q&A tool on this webinar. And so as I look at this, you know, if I bridge you into the next page or the next detail on this, you'll see when you get onto this page, when you're on the right spot, there's a big live button, and it actually will say Q&A. So if you click on that, you'll be able to ask us questions, and I'll take your questions during the event. Also giving you one brief second, I don't see that we have any chats, but if you're live on the Hangout, of course, feel free to register those questions via the chat tool, and I will answer your questions at that time. Back to your programming, a picture is worth everything in online marketing, and specifically in email marketing. With one caveat, you can't rely only on pictures. So be sure to make your content stand out with extra imagery and extra tools that are designed to elicit that response. You know, make sure that you're being as graphical as possible in what you do, but also don't be afraid to, and please include regular text, because some folks on mobile devices have images turned off. So you need to be able to tell them what's inside of those images, but even if they can't see it at all, they have to understand what your messaging is and get to that next step. Pictures get 47% more click-through than content, but again, we already talked about this. Don't over-rely on images and label those images, and Constant Contact does a really good job of letting you do this. But alt tags in the web world are where it's at. It's just good common courtesy for folks that don't have images. If they're on a slow connection, they'll see what that image description is before they download the image, and that might get them to that next step to download the image so that you can take it. Don't use images for all of your content. Again, you need to have text because that's what helps you to get found, and that's what people will cue in on. It has to be a 1-2 punch, not a one-trick pony as far as just posting up an image and expecting miraculous results. Your content, when it's viewed on mobile devices, is very, very important. So as you see for this one, you know, it's House 307 POD. There's a big image, and it doesn't really tell you anything. So all you see is an X, and you don't know what that is. On this one, it's a most unusual evening. This is a little better, where it tells you some things, but again, there's no text on this image to help you understand what it is and who it's doing or who it's connecting with. And then on this NB Fitness one, the email wasn't designed to be mobile responsive. All Constant Contact emails are designed with mobile responsivity in mind. I think I just made up a word there, so yay me. But when you click on a mobile device, if you have to scroll all over the place to see that email, you're missing out on all of those folks because people aren't going to take the time. They're just going to swipe up and down. They're not going to scroll all over the place on your window to see what you need. So especially as we talk about integrating with social medias or social media channels, some of those channels do really engage with imagery. You know, Instagram is an entire network built just on sharing images. If you have an email account or an email that has some really cool imagery in it, and you let folks share on Instagram, that's a great way to geographically expand your reach to other networks. You know, same thing with Pinterest. Pinterest is all about images and videos. Any multimedia, Pinterest is perfect for. And of course, Facebook. you'll see about 30 to 40% more interaction with posts that have images or videos on them than posts that are just based on text. So anytime that you can use your email marketing and direct that and connect back with imagery that's dedicated to informing and engaging your clients, the better off you're going to be across all networks. So as you repurpose and reuse those, that's a really easy way to make sure that you're getting as much bang as possible for your buck. So when should you send this? It all comes down to filling out what people are going to look at. As folks are reviewing your message, the three rules or words that everybody thinks about as they're filling out they're deciding whether to read your email is, should I check it out now, should I check it out later, or should I just delete that thing? So if all you have is a very generic message and it doesn't say who it's really from, if it just says from the sales department at BizzyWeb, that's going to be a lot less likely to be opened than if it says that it's coming from Dave Meyer at BizzyWeb. So you want to make sure that it connects right up, and the subject line is very important. You have to take into account that people are viewing this perhaps on an iPhone or an Android, and they're only going to see the first 3 or 4 words inside of that image before they have to scroll down or before it's off of their screen. And so make those words count. They can't be too spammy. You don't want to include words like free or now or whatever, but make sure that you're interacting with them by getting right to the point. And then we'll talk about this in a little bit on how to time your information for maximum results by measuring, but you need to think about when people are most likely to check this out. The old adage used to be, emails were best to send out between Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to really 3 p.m. because that's when most people had settled down and were actually doing work and checking their emails. But for a lot of folks, we're now seeing, especially in service kind of places, evenings tend to be a lot higher as far as engagement because people are out, they're browsing, they're checking out what they want to do for dinner, or if you're in real estate, for example, people are looking around on weekends, and so they're more likely to click on your link during that specific time. And we'll talk about how to measure that as well. When you look at who you should send it from, you need to battle with all of the different priorities that people have in their day. What's going to make you most recognizable? Is it going to be connecting up with all of these tools? And how are you going to get everything that you need without breaking the law? So the Canned Spam Act, I could wax poetic about this for a good long while, but every email that you send has to be formatted correctly to remain legal. The Canned Spam Act basically is a number of guidelines to ensure that people aren't spamming other folks, and some of them have pretty stiff penalties as to what happens if you spam people out. The only thing I'll say on that is, that really it's intended for massive spammers. So, while you shouldn't be worried about having, the Department of Defense knocking on your door and the FTC telling you that you owe them $10,000 per email, you should absolutely be careful of what you should do because you don't want people to report you as a spammer anyway. Make sure that your brand is consistent so that everyone can see you and connect with you and knows what you're doing, and that goes for emails as well as all online networks. So everybody should be able to check or to see at a glance who you are and what you do. So, everything that you do should relate to each other, and everything that you connect with should include your branding, your imagery. Don't just put together an email that's text-based or that's junked together or that your intern has put together that just got out of high school. Make sure that you're taking some time to put some polish on this and to include real images that are designed to elicit the response that you want and to fit in with the rest of your marketing in order to get the best response. So as we talk about this, subject lines, there's 2 things that I like. It's the 2-2-2 rule, and this is a constant contact thing that I think is just brilliant. What can you get people to do inside of the first 2 seconds? So what's immediate inside of that first 2 seconds that people look at your email? What are the 2 key words that you want to focus on? And again, an email subject line, especially given all of the online or all of the mobile devices in the world today, you need to have at least 2 keywords inside of about the first 6 words that'll get people to that next step. And then what do you want them to do today? So 2 seconds, how can I get them interested? 2 words, what are those keywords that people are going to react to, or that are what's really the point of your communication, and what do you want them to do today? So as you look at subject lines, here's some cruddy ones. March newsletter, probably better. Tomorrow, need 3 hammers. Can you help? This is how a United Way campaign, or actually it's I'm blanking on what the actual thing was, but like a home building thing. They were trying to get folks up in there and to connect. So, you know, telling people tomorrow we need you is much better than just saying March newsletter. You know, Joe's Pet Store newsletter, great. Even if I love Joe's Pet Store, I'm not being told why I should connect or care. Alert, help your dog beat the heat. That's important. So as that goes, we can connect up and we can bridge that across. Children's classes, not very wonderful. How about still time, openings available for children's classes? You know, again, has the 2-2-2 rule in mind on all of these. So the next question you're going to think after you've got your perfect who is it from and perfect subject line is, when should I send this to get the maximum result? And really, monthly is good for email newsletters, but once we start talking about when they're most likely to ask for or to take the response that I need them to do, that's when you need to start testing and measuring, and here's how. First, find the best day of the week, and in order to do that, you just take your email list and divide it into 3 groups. You're going to take those 3 groups, and you're going to select 3 days in the week to test that. Ideally, these groups should be random, and there's actually ways in the Constant Contact tool just to split up your list into 3 random lists, and then you're going to send your email and watch for the best response. You know, don't get seduced into this, and I'm going to talk about it again in a second, but, you know, don't be fooled by saying, wow, 80 people clicked on that email. What if it didn't do anything other than having them click on that email? You want to go for the one that has the best actual response. So for Habitat for Humanity, which is the 3 hammers that I blanked on before, you know, what's that big thing that people are connecting with, or what's the best way that will get the actual response that people are looking for as we move forward? So, you know, that's how you'll do that. And then, of course, find your best time after you have your best day, and do this again and connect out and say, you know, here's what the best thing is for those same 3 groups. And I've got problems with my mouse here, so I'll do that. Now we're good. And the 3 email, or the same email at the 3 different times, and note again the best results. So don't be romanced by high open rate. Just measure the actions that people are taking. If they're registering for your event, awesome. If you have 300 people that click on the email but nobody does anything with it, it's probably a bad time for them to look at their calendar and go. So, you know, 1 a.m. on a Tuesday might be awesome for insomniacs if you're selling bedding, but if they're not in front of their credit card so that they can't place that order, then you're missing the boat, and you want to go for a different time to connect up. So some practical advice as we bridge through this. You know, most people, again, don't see those images by default, so make sure that you have text around your email and give them a reason by describing your image as well to add that image or to download that email. Text links get more clicks than buttons, interestingly enough, so make sure that you have both, and place your logo at the left or center in that email for when people are browsing on mobile devices so that they can see who that message is from. So be sure to include that and include the company name in your text, because again, you have to give people the context on why they should care. If it just said Dave Meyer and you don't remember who Dave Meyer is, you're not going to click on that person. But if you say Dave Meyer at BizzyWeb presents blah blah blah, that's going to get you that next step a lot better. And actually, since we've started using Constant Contact and the tools that we've begun employing based on the learnings that I've gotten out of delivering this presentation, we've seen our conversion rates go through the roof, as indicated by, you know, all of the people that are on the line right now. So thanks for everybody that's here. And again, as a reminder for those folks, feel free and don't be shy. Please go ahead and ask questions via the Q&A tool or via the chat tool if you're on the Hangout proper. Make sure you keep your key action above your scroll line. Don't give too many choices to folks. And again, focus, 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 and make all images clickable, because that's what people are going to want to do. And then, of course, when you test your emails, all good email marketing campaign tools allow you to send a test message to yourself. Make sure not only testing it on your web browser on your computer, but that you're opening that email on your mobile device so that it looks good. We've seen a lot of issues with MailChimp in particular in not rendering things correctly by device. And in particular, there's one crazy thing. A lot of folks in the corporate world are still stuck on IE8 or in Microsoft Outlook. And older versions of Microsoft Outlook just don't understand the way some of these things work. Had a ton of trouble with one of my clients when we were doing it in MailChimp. We switched over to Constant Contact, and miraculously everything just worked. So, not to say that that'll happen every time, and your mileage may vary, but using a great tool that's really designed to get the response that you want will help you be more successful. And if you're already spending the time and the effort to market yourself online, make sure you're doing it well. So, very briefly, I'm going to bridge into email plus social, because I think that it's important to realize that as you look to all of this stuff, we're not operating in a vacuum anymore. Email isn't the only game in town. It's just part of your online strategy. So let's talk about where you need to go for all of that. There used to be social media marketing was 10% back when BizzyWeb started in full time and really launched. It was 10% of businesses were using social media as a marketing strategy. That's really when Facebook was a year old. So now we're more like 87% as of last year, and it's actually higher as of 2014. But the last year we have results for is 2013. So 87% of small businesses are now using social media. Social influences decisions. 74% of folks rely on social networks when they're looking at making purchasing decisions. So they're checking Facebook to see what other people say. They're looking for online reviews. They're checking out to make sure that what they're connecting with, what they're choosing to interact with you on, is legitimate, and that it makes sense for them based on other people that are similar to them. 55% of folks share purchases on social networks. I admit that I'm not one of those people that likes to tweet or Facebook post about what I do online, but a lot of folks do. And 68% for charities learn about a charity if they see a friend posting about it. So if people connect up, Finnegan's is one of our favorite clients, and I've been posting about a Kickstarter campaign that they have going on right now. Go to Finnegans.org if you're interested in connecting up with that, or just go to Kickstarter and check out Finnegan's, because they have a fantastic new Dead Irish Poet Stout, and if you go to deadirishpoet.com, you can actually donate. Brilliant stuff, but 68% of folks are seeing and hearing about this campaign via social networks, or instead of just looking on an email campaign or looking at the website of that client, or that nonprofit. So as you integrate both of these together, social media helps to amplify your email, and email helps amplify that for your social networks, and it also drives traffic back to your list so that you can continue to integrate with folks and continue to dig a little deeper and give a little bit more value by connecting with them over and over again. So as we look at this, Boloco, this is what they do. They have their email account, and down at the bottom they have share buttons, and those buttons will take them into their Twitter account, their Facebook account, their YouTube video account, and their Pinterest board, all in that one fell swoop. So you get everything that you need, and it reaches out to all of those people, even for the folks that weren't on that email marketing list. If BizzyWeb has 500 and some fans on Facebook, when I send out my notes via my email marketing, it goes out to that extra 500 people, and then it goes out to the extra 600 people that we have on Twitter, and it goes out to the extra 400 people that we have on Pinterest, and then it goes out to the 10,000 people that have checked us out on Google+. So I'm reaching out not just to, if I'm making a targeted list, the 600 or 700 people that I really want to reach via email. It also goes out to 1,500 or more other people without me doing a dang extra thing, which I love. The Girl Scouts do a great job at this as well. So Northeast Texas has this one. They post this message. And again, you'll notice that it's branded across all. There's the Girl Scout logo, there's the connections, and it brings them in so that people know exactly what they're doing and where they're going in order to commit. And for a lot of folks that already are on your email marketing campaigns, they're also following you in some of those social networks. So if they see a note, they're much more likely to connect with that message if they see it more than one time. You know, some folks say that you still have to connect more than 7 times to see it. I say if you're crafting a good call to action, if your messaging is compelling, it should be less than that. But really, connecting with people as many times as possible on the action that you want them to take is the best way to have physical success results. And here's another example with Tax Talk. You can see how it all works together. So where do we go next? And again, we're in about the halfway point here, so I'm going to shut down the live version that has the Q&A in just a moment. Would love for any of the many folks that are logged on the online account to please go ahead and ask questions via that Q&A tool. If you are having problems with that Q&A tool, feel free to send a message into sales@BizzyWeb.com and we will connect with you. We have operators standing by. You're not going to be added to any crazy list or anything, or get marketing dumped on you just by sending into sales. Just note BizzyWebinar and the question that you have, and we will take that and I'll follow up with you afterwards. Another brief note, if you wouldn't mind just responding to, for the many folks that are logged on, I know that a lot of you responded and clicked right from an email. So if you have attended via that email, if you wouldn't mind just replying to that email and saying, yep, I'm in, so that we know that you attended. I actually get credit with Constant Contact for how many people attend these things, but I need to verify that they're real people. So if you wouldn't mind, that actually helps out and makes it worth my time to work with you as well. So just drop a note to the sales box or reply to that email if you wouldn't mind. It doesn't have to be a lot of information. Just say, yep, I was there. It was awesome. Thanks so much. As you're building this out, one last thing. Make sure that you're thinking about all of your marketing from a holistic perspective. You know, you have different things that you do, whether it's a blog post or social media posts or email marketing. And you may do a few different types of email marketing, and certainly if you have a tool like Constant Contact at your disposal, it would be crazy not to use it as much as you can. So make sure that you're putting together a content calendar for all of your social channels. Anyone that visits the BizzyWeb headquarters is welcome to check out our marketing calendar. It takes up an entire wall, and it's a dead tree version where we literally have post-it notes on walls that tell us, okay, what types of marketing we're doing when. That helps us to remember to integrate all of our connections and everything that we do in one fell swoop. So everything that I do anywhere should be interrelated to everything else that I do. Again, that connects with social media. Every time I post to a BizzyWeb powered website, that automatically goes out on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google+. And then I can do further outreach one-on-one with those networks because I've taken the time to build a community and a little bit of a backlog of communication so that people can see that, yes, we are actually active on all of these networks, and that really helps to increase all of your response. And again, if somebody sees something 6 or 7 times, they're much more likely to take the action that you want them to than if they just see it once fleetingly in an email that they swipe or delete because you said March newsletter from BizzyWeb. So what's next and what's final? You know, you can get started today. BizzyWeb is a Constant Contact provider, a solution provider. Just drop us a note and we'll help you out. Don't just rush off to Constant Contact if you wouldn't mind, because again, I can give you much more personalized service if I see that you've come from us, and we actually get a little bit of credit on that. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it's more like a hat tip back to us where we'll get a little bit of financial result off of this. So check us out and we can connect out with you. Busy webinars happen every week. Next week we've got some more helpful detail on a bunch of things, and I'll walk through that with you in just a moment. But in summary and to wrap up, last time to ask questions, but of course BizzyWeb does web design, and so our design and development is designed to get a response inside of the first 10 seconds that people visit your homepage. And for most of our clients, their site is all about growing leads. And so we have a slightly different way of looking at our websites. We don't just build them out as brochures. We design them to elicit a real response. So is it getting you leads and helping you grow your business? If the answer is no on any of that, please talk to us and we can fill out a report for you that'll help give you some steps to take to get to that next spot. We do web hosting at BizzyWeb, so if you aren't currently hosting with BizzyWeb and you have a WordPress-powered website, we have so much value that we can offer to you over the GoDaddies and one-on-ones and DreamHosts of the world. We have real people that work on our hosting, and our real hosting includes things like online dedicated backups, full search engine scanning, and malware scanning to make sure that your site isn't getting hacked. And we just take care of you because we're real human beings that are working with you because we already have a relationship with you. We also have a full suite of online marketing tools now at our disposal. So if you're looking to get more results, whether it be growing leads for your business, getting better search engine results, helping deepen relationships with your customers, or just trying to build your brand, we have specific programs that relate to all of those. And if you're interested in that, about 3 weeks ago now, we did a BizzyWebinar just on the Buzz Builders online marketing program. Join us every Wednesday, of course. We have webinars every Wednesday at noon, and that's why you're here. But be sure to register for us. The best way to do this now is to actually go to BizzyWeb.com/events. And I'm going to take you there for a second because if you go into the events page and go to the events calendar, you'll see what's coming up next Wednesday, which is the 28th. If I go into September, where did August go? Next Wednesday is BizzyWeb. Our BizzyWebinar on marketing personas. So if you want to know how to highlight and talk about specific types of people and really get into their skins or get into their thought patterns and figure out exactly how to market to them, signing up for our BizzyWebinar on marketing personas is the best way to do that. If you click on this link, you'll be able to register inside of that link and you'll get a note in advance that'll let you register and join live and ask some questions. And again, that's probably the best way to interact. We do these, and they're built to take about a half hour a pop, and the second half hour is intended for Q&A and tech support for the folks that have joined us. So again, if you're at the BizzyWebinar for today, and I'm going to just go back to the home page on BizzyWeb and scroll down to that article at the bottom, there's a link right here. We've got 6 spots available in the webinar itself. Click on this link to go into the Google Hangout, and you'll be able to ask us questions live. I'm going to open up the microphones in just a moment. Whoops. And finally, if you want to have us tell you what your next steps should be and have us look at your marketing and identify what you're missing and help give you a guideline and a plan to take it to the next level, fill out a buzz report by going to BizzyWeb.com/buzz. This is free to you, but we'll take all of your online marketing, look at your search engine optimization and results, look at your website, look at your social media, and tell you what you're missing and what we recommend you take as next steps. Of course, you're welcome to work with us, but it's not a requirement as for filling out these buzz reports. Again, I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I hope this was beneficial to you. Again, if you wouldn't mind, just respond to the email that you received that got you to this webinar, just so that we know who attended. And thanks again, and we'll see you next week for Marketing Personas. Again, I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb, reminding you that we help you generate buzz without getting stung. Have a fantastic week and a safe Labor Day for the folks that are in the U.S., and we'll talk to you all soon.